What are you doing?
I'm reversing the polarity of the ultrasonic screwdriver's power source.
Reverse the polarity.
Reverse the polarity.
I just reversed the polarity.
Welcome to The Fan and the Fool. I'm the fan, my name's Nelly, and I'm joined by...
The Fool, Alex Cameron.
We haven't done an episode for a couple of weeks because I was in quarantine.
Big Rona.
Yeah.
Big Rona hit town. Woo! I don't know if we should say that, but it's said now.
But, so I was here for 2 weeks and you were wherever
What is
you were.
wrong with you people in Victoria and New South Wales? Like, seriously. Like, did you see, okay, it's not relevant, so we can cut this out if you want me to.
No, this is all
Did you see the
good.
thing about the engagement party?
Engagement party.
Was it an engagement party?
Oh, was there an engagement party and it was like a super spreader event or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is wrong
Is
with
this
you
New South
people?
Wales or Victoria?
Either one, it doesn't matter. It's all the same amalgamation of Big Rona.
Jeez.
Up here in the Sunshine State, mate, we're pretty chill.
We're episode 4. This is episode 4, right? And we're already just like making enemies. It's really good.
Not with people, though, just whole states.
Well, when you look at, like, all right, when like New South Wales was like, we should probably do a lockdown, and there's still people just outside, like frolicking about. It's like, yeah, you've got hundreds of new cases each day. Well done.
Up here in Queensland, we have 5 cases and we're locked down for 2 weeks.
Yeah. So basically, I was
how
I was
we do
here
it.
for 2 weeks.
Yeah, you were in actual quarantine.
Yep. This desk that we are on with these microphones was what I was using to teach students.
Oh, okay, so nothing to do with Big Rona.
No.
Okay, you're scaring me there for a second.
No. This place has been deep cleaned.
Really?
No. I was tested negative.
Oh, good. Negative is good, right? Even though it sounds bad.
Negative is good.
Oh, good.
Did not have coronavirus.
Okay, good.
I'm not calling it Big Rona.
Anyway.
Can we start?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Sorry, everybody. Episode 4.
Episode 4, The Edge of Destruction.
2 episodes of the Doctor Who classic.
My favourite thing being that the second part is also called The Brink of Disaster. So
Yeah.
both titles mean the same thing, really. But that's okay.
It's also kind of a weird way to start after you being quarantined because of a pandemic.
Edge of Destruction.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we're back into it.
I do vaguely remember when COVID first kicked off, there's a Torchwood episode. Torchwood is a spin-off of Doctor Who. And I was listening to a radio play of it, and it's called Outbreak.
Really?
And it was a virus that's gone rampant, and they had to put London into lockdown and people into quarantine. And I was like, too close. Too close.
Way too close. Oh, yeah.
So, as always, for the last 3 episodes, I've got a thing.
You've got a thing here, a Doctor Who thing for me to look at.
Yes. Wait, is it Doctor Who thing? Is it a Doctor Who thing?
I see. Well, now I know it's not because you've asked me that question.
Ooh, is it? Why don't you describe it for the listeners?
Okay, so it's a photo frame, but inside is a stitching of a jacket with a red tie and glasses, but no person actually wearing... It looks like an invisible person is wearing glasses and a suit jacket and top and no pants.
Ooh. What kind of person would wear no pants? An invisible person.
Doctor Who?
I think he's always wearing pants.
Oh, okay.
Well, spearhead in space. Am I right? All right, people? It's a reference for later.
I don't want to know what a spearhead refers to, by the way, if he's got no pants on.
Great.
But, so you want me to guess whether this is a Doctor Who thing?
This thing.
I'm going to say yes, and let me explain why.
Explain yourself.
I have no idea why you would own this if it wasn't, because it's really weird for you to have a half-naked invisible man in a photo frame.
Do you want me to reveal?
Sure.
My sister made this.
Oh, that's cool, because it is stitched.
It's stitched. She stitched it for my birthday.
Which means it must be a Doctor Who thing.
It's definitely a Doctor Who thing. For those people listening, it is David Tennant's, the 10th Doctor's traditional pinstripe kind of outfit thing. Yep. And his brainy specs. But in stitched form, without David Tennant. So
I thought it was cool before, but now that it was personally made for you, that's really cool.
Yeah, she's pretty good at stuff like that.
I have a feeling a lot of the time it's going to be, yes, this is a Doctor Who thing, because you own a lot of Doctor Who things.
Yes, look, I know the last 3 have been... they've all been Doctor Who so far.
Yeah.
There was the remote last week.
I didn't have to guess that one.
Because it looks like it just is a Doctor Who thing. And the first thing I showed you was like a... It was like a Dalek-y thing or something.
I can't remember.
Or did we only start episode 3?
No,
Who
you
knows?
also showed me the phone booth, the police box,
Oh my gosh.
the blue,
The TARDIS.
the TARDIS.
You're right, I have a lot of this, which is a good thing that this show is probably going to go for a while.
Yeah.
And also, it's either going to be this, or Star Wars, or some science fiction thing, or I might occasionally just put a Pikachu on the table, and you'll be like, that's definitely not Doctor Who. So...
But we needed to fill the episode.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, if I get to the end of the Doctor Who stuff and it just is repeatedly non-Doctor Who stuff, you know I've run out of things to put out.
You're going to have to plan it out, because we're only starting, 50 to 60 years before our time.
There's probably going to be some times where I just put one of... There's a set of trophies over there.
Yeah.
I'll just put one of them here so you can just describe the trophy that I've won.
Oh, I see. You just want to get some clout.
I like a bit of recognition for minuscule
The kids call
achievements.
that clout. Okay.
Oh, is that what it is?
It's time to be cool.
What does CLOUT stand for?
It's not an acronym. CLOUT.
That's just a word.
It's like, I'm cool, bro.
I don't know what you're doing with your hands there.
I'm doing pretend I'm not a rapper, but I'm trying to be.
Oh, okay. That's really good, man. You definitely are the fool.
That was for the kids at home who know what cloud is.
I don't know if kids should be listening to this.
Trust me, they're not. They're like video games. They're not going to listen to us talk about Doctor Who classic.
Okay.
Begin.
You ready for the episode? The
Yes.
Edge of Destruction.
We've wasted enough time.
Can I tell you what the best thing about watching the start of this episode was?
Go ahead.
I had forgotten, because it'd been 2 weeks since we recorded an episode.
It's been a while.
But we played a lot of Rocket League, so that was good.
Yes.
And
By the way, if you're on the Australian servers and you see a team called Ponk, that's us.
Ponk. And whenever we score a goal, you just say Ponk.
We just say Ponk. Don't question it. But
No,
yes.
someone thought we were misspelling pink, but it is Ponk.
Also, let's get back on the episode.
Oh, sorry.
How much time have we wasted? And it's not your fault, it's both of us.
It says 9 minutes.
Oh, man, what a start. Okay, we're
So
starting for real now, if you're
the Edge
still
of
here.
Destruction. It'd been a couple weeks,
Yes.
and there was that awesome, previously on bit, how they always put the few minutes in at the start, where they all, fall over. There's the big flash of light, and they're all like, "Wah."
After escaping the Daleks.
After the escape in the Daleks, planet of Daleks, Skaro. So,
that's what that word means. I heard him say it in this episode,
Skaro.
and I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you want a little bit of, knowledge about how this episode, why this episode is in one place?
I think we touched on it, but yes, I do want to know.
Okay, so originally, because Doctor Who, made by the BBC, was commissioned for 4 episodes. Okay, so that was going to be An Unearthly Child. Remember that was 4 episodes?
Yep.
And so they were like, partway through that, BBC was like, get us more of this thing. And so they made the Daleks, but they commissioned 13 episodes. Right? So they'd made up to this point 11, yes. So, because we also had... no, wait, that's it. Unearthly Child, 3. So it was 5, 3, then 3. Makes 11.
He teaches math.
Okay. So they didn't
needed
have
2 more.
They needed 2 more.
Right.
They had no money. They just had the TARDIS set.
I feel him.
And apparently a couple extra weirdly shaped chairs that they could just squeeze into this episode. And
I know what you're talking
and
about.
some scissors. And
Oh no, not the scissors. Oh man, we're going to be talking about scissors.
and then the main cast, because they had the 4 main cast members, but they didn't really have the money to get anybody else. Even the background music that you heard throughout the episode, that's free mood music that they could just chuck in.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So they didn't have any original music. It was just the theme song at the start and then the incidental kind of stuff throughout.
Right.
Including one of my favourite things of weird music, and Susan just like appearing. So
Yeah, like a horror film.
Yeah, like a horror
Psycho
film.
or something.
Okay, but I'll give you more
That's
things.
really cool.
I'm going to give you more things in trivia.
Oh.
Okay, so
And I'll tell you if they're fun or not, because you always ask.
Ooh.
And often they're not, but let's try.
one of them is a bit like, I don't know if I want to mention this.
Oh. This is going to be fun then. Go on.
Well, if you never hear it while listening to this episode, it's because we've cut it out.
Okay. I'm scared.
Okay, so they're all on the ground. The doctor's hit his head. But I didn't notice that he'd had a cut on his head, really, until they put the bandage on it.
Well, they keep mentioning it, but we don't see it. I don't think.
So Barbara was the first to wake up, and she's a bit, like, dazed and confused.
Hey, hang on, we're starting the episode, not the trivia. You're saying that that's going to come up.
That's going to come up.
Oh, okay, I got confused. I thought it was going to be about someone had hit their head on purpose. Oh, no, by accident. And so they were like, well, let's turn this into the episode. And that was going to be a trivia.
No.
Oh, he passed out. Let's make that the show.
No, it was more, we have no money, let's make that the episode.
Yeah.
So this is all in one location, it's just in the TARDIS. Barbara wakes up, she's like, oh, what's going on?
After everyone's fallen down.
Everyone's fallen down.
I'm just drinking some water.
Yeah, you can drink
listening.
you can drink whatever you want.
I'm listening.
He held it right to the microphone. I'll put that up. That's right, I can't hear you swallowing.
I'm not trying to make you hear. I'm waiting
I
for you
know.
to keep talking. You're the fan. Tell me why it's fun.
So Barbara is like, is that Ian Chesterton? You know, like she's a bit like, Ian Chesterton? And then she's like she's kind of forgotten some things.
Yeah,
she's just a
spaced
bit
out.
dazed, spaced out. And then, and Susan's kind of similar. So Susan wakes up as well, and she's like, what's going on here?
Who are?
Who are you people? That kind of thing.
Not just who are.
She sees the doctor on the ground, and Susan does, like, I just wonder sometimes, you know, Carolyn Ford, who is the actress who plays Susan, if she just gets sick of, like, shrieking, like, grandfather, and, she's just like, oh no, you mustn't touch the console. Like, it's all like, dialed up to 11.
Because I remember you complaining about it leading up to this episode, and I was like, it hasn't been too bad.
No.
And now it is.
It's like, yeah, gone all the way up. And I also think it's a weird choice. Like, she has just gone through the Daleks episodes where she's kind of, like, gone from being terrified to being brave and stuff. And now she's just, like, screeching again.
I did make a note because there's one scene where the doctor's on the ground, she kneels down next to him trying to wake him up and just screams in his face really loudly.
Yeah.
And I thought even as actors in real life, that would have been really unpleasant.
Because he would have had to be lying there.
In real
just
life,
taking it.
just have a girl
Although
scream at it.
William Hartnell probably wouldn't mind just lying on the ground.
Man, I really noticed it this episode, but we'll get into it.
Okay, so Barbara's like, you should probably go get some things. Go to the, like, TARDIS first aid kit, basically. Get us some stuff. Barbara goes and gets... Susan goes and gets stuff.
From the first aid.
First aid kit. Including weird bandages. And Ian something on his feet, which I thought a little bit creepy. But the first thing he says is, you're working late tonight, Miss Wright. Which is from the first episode.
I didn't know if it was an exact line, but yeah, that's pretty cool. I realised it must have been him thinking they were back there.
So that's pretty cool because the Doctor Who definitely likes to, like, reference itself all the time. So it likes to do some continuity, and it's like,
how uppity is that?
Oh yeah. So there's even things in this episode where I'm like, that's coming up again.
Right, that's cool.
So one of them's at the very end of the episode, and
I can guess what it is.
Go and guess, sir.
Well, I think it's the fast return switch. I'm guessing that makes another appearance.
It's the first case of the fast return switch. Okay. That is pretty good.
But that's not what you're talking about.
That's not what I'm talking about. But I have written that down.
Yes.
So the TARDIS is pretty much has a pretty normal first aid kit, is what I've written, because it's just a box. Like, I thought it'd be like maybe a bit spacey, but
futuristic or something.
Futuristic, but you know, I guess you can't fault just like a steel first aid kit in a box.
Medical things don't ever improve.
You'd hope they would, though. And so they're trying to like rouse it, like get the doctor to wake up. And I thought it was interesting because one of the things he says is, "I can't take you back, Susan." He's like, says that in his sleep, and I'm like, "Oh, isn't that interesting?"
Okay, so you must know something that's going to happen, because I thought he was basically talking about taking her back to Earth, to the school that she wanted to go to at the beginning.
Yeah, and look, it could just be that.
But it might.
But it also, like at this point, we haven't really heard where the Doctor is from.
Right.
Like originally. They just know that all we know at this point, I mean, I know a lot more, but...
well, you're the fan.
Oh, well, what can I say? And we don't know where they're from, except for the fact that they've, like, taken this ship and they're just kind of, like, they seem to be on the run a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they're worried about being found out when they were in London. Mm-hmm. But then when they go to Skaro, they're like, oh, by the way, we're time travelers. So
explaining the whole situation.
Yeah.
And I've already predicted that he's not actually her grandfather, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yes, we'll see. He's very satisfied with the revelation of all that. Okay.
Jeez.
I said Susan's doing a lot of gasping in this episode.
Yes.
And she says the ship can't crash, which I think is hilarious. I've quoted it. Because basically all it will do for eternity is crash into things.
And I feel like we've already seen it crash.
Yes. Well, I don't know if we've seen it crash.
Well,
we've just seen it land in places where it's not meant to.
Okay, but in any other vehicle, that's a crash, right?
Yeah, but no one got hurt, except they all went floppy and fell over a couple of times.
No one ever lands somewhere they're not supposed to be and goes, oh, perfect.
Perfect landing.
That's a crash. But yes, I know what you're saying. It's not a like physical bang-up job.
I put Carolyn Ford is getting a lot of practice of her fainting acting. Because she's just faints. She faints again.
I'm not a fan
Ship
of
can't
hers in
crash.
this episode.
She touches the console and faints.
Yes.
So this
Kind of has whiplash almost from it.
Yes. Like this console, it's now zapped. This is like repeated zaps, by the way. Because
Yeah.
Ian got zapped in the first episode.
Very first episode.
And she's been zapped now, and there's more zapping to come.
Okay.
And so it's a bit of me is just like, is this safe? But also knowing what the TARDIS is in the current series, you kind of go, wow, okay, that's interesting.
Right.
Which you will get to.
Eventually.
But what did you think of the TARDIS? Like, do you think it's because it was kind of like doing random stuff and the Doctor didn't know what was going on? Did you think at that point that something had come into it, or did you think the TARDIS was just doing something weird on its own?
You're talking about before they reveal what's going on. And also, I am the fool because you're going to have to explain to me part of the plot, which I don't think I got, and that's probably my fault.
No, there's bits in here where I go, I don't know what's going on.
Okay, good. Even as the fan.
Yes.
I thought something was coming in there and possessing different people at different times. I didn't think about it being involved with the ship at all.
Yeah. There's often, like, the ship, we'll call it a ship for now, that kind of goes away. But the ship...
The police box.
We travel around in a post box. A very small box.
You've got mail.
But the TARDIS is definitely quite a mysterious thing. And I thought it was quite... Later on, the Doctor says, it's just a machine, it can't think.
Right.
Or at least it doesn't think in the way that you and I do. He's talking to Ian, I think.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because, like, this is a recurring thing. Like, is this thing living? Is it, how does it work? And that comes up a lot more. But I just thought it was interesting that, like, at this point, he's essentially stolen this box.
Right.
And he doesn't seem to fully comprehend just yet that there's more going on in it than just being a machine.
Hang on, did you just reveal something by mistake to me?
No.
Okay.
He's
stolen it? I didn't know that.
Well, I think he says in it that I think he said in the previous episode that they've taken it and he's not exactly sure how to fly it properly.
Vaguely.
Because Ian was like, you don't know how to get us back home. And he's like, oh, maybe I don't.
True.
So...
But can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is there a massive reveal at some point in the show's history about the TARDIS in that way, or is it always kind of a mystery?
I'm going to say it's always a mystery.
Okay.
But you definitely find out more about it.
Right. I mean, this is just kind of hinting at that.
They're particularly in... you have to wait a long time. But there's a Matt Smith episode. The 11th Doctor has an episode where it's like peak, like learn about all this stuff.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and the 9th Doctor has one that's pretty close too.
Well, we've got a ways to go.
Just tapping my nose.
To nobody. I don't know what you're talking. I'm the fool. I don't know what's going on.
So I put there's some force inside the TARDIS because they talk about, within the console there's an energy source.
Right.
And I thought it was very interesting that, like, at this point, this is before, like, Susan goes all stouty. We're going to get to that.
We are. Also, how not to take a knife off a person who's got it. We'll talk about that.
You mean just lunge in for a knife?
Well, okay.
It's not a knife, by the way. It's a pair of scissors. It's a lot safer than just a knife.
Okay, but if someone is standing right,
yeah,
overhand as if they're going to stab down at you with the scissors, do you do like Ian Chesterton and put your hands palm up underneath it?
Because he's asking for the scissors.
Yeah, but he's saying, give me the scissors, but he's putting his arm there to be stabbed.
Because if she stabs him with the scissors, they're in his hand. And he has the scissors.
Oh, that makes
obviously.
Sense. I just thought that was... There's easier ways to disarm a young lady who's trying to stab you other than put your hand where the scissors go.
So this must be...
intently at his notes.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking for where I've got that she does the stabbing.
It's pretty early. I think it's going to be early in your notes.
So I think that... Because Barbara...
she doesn't actually stab anyone.
No, you're correct.
She comes close.
I find it really funny that, like, they take the scissors get taken off her, and then she just gets them again.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty
Where are
funny.
all these scissors coming from?
Like, she really... So what happens is she is seemingly, like, having a bit of a... Like, seems to be maybe she's possessed by something.
That's why I thought it was that.
And Barbara actually says something like she's obviously... Like, Barbara's obviously learning from the fact that they've travelled through time and space now, because she's like, something could have gone in, and it doesn't... it might not be, like, a man or, like, anything that we would comprehend, because she's like, oh, this random stuff has happened. So I think that's kind of interesting. Like, she's like, we've seen Daleks now, and we've seen weird cavemen. Yeah. And so...
She's seen so much, she's just fully on board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ian's just like he's not completely dismissive. The Doctor's very dismissive of it.
Just in general.
Yeah. But Ian's just like, oh yeah, I guess. But this is where... so Susan has the scissors, and she has, like, she goes a bit crazy, and she is going to like she had fainted, and Ian's like carried her to her bed, and she has the scissors, and she like stabs the chair thing that she's on.
Yeah, this is after he presents his hand too, I think.
Yeah.
And then she's just suddenly stabbing a chair that's near... One of those weird chairs that's near them.
Yeah.
In kind of like... Imagine Psycho, the famous scene with the shower and the stabbing. It's that sort of thing at the chair.
And I thought it was actually really interesting. I think it was interesting because, you're like... like... They're talking about... Like, they've gone from cavemen who want to make fire...
Yeah.
Mutated, like humans who are now living inside Dalek casings, and now they're going to like people being possessed by things. I was like, oh, okay, like that will come up again, so you can kind of see where the beginnings of things come from,
right?
But
this whole season really does set up a lot of things that I'm guessing reoccur.
Yeah.
It's not just a random strew of storylines.
I think they do like a classic like it's the first season of a thing.
Yeah.
So it's just a smattering of ideas. And then they go, oh, people like these things. So we'll keep those things.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll just repeat them in the next season. And the things that people didn't like will replace those episodes with new things. And see if they stick.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, she stabs a chair real good. And she passes out again. Like she has like a bit of a... She does a screech again. And then Ian has the scissors off her. And that's when... That's right. That's when they go out. And that's when Barbara has that little talk about how she thinks it could be something else that's made it inside.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of talking in this episode.
Well, yeah, they can't travel anywhere.
Yeah. And I think that's really interesting too, because it's like there's no big bad, seemingly. And
right.
These four people have just had like two quite full-on adventures in a row. But they haven't really gotten to know each other super well.
Yeah.
And now they're just talking to each other constantly. So, and the Doctor being... I think there's a really good moment where Barbara's like, what are you accusing us for? We literally just went through these things and, like, saved you twice.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Sorry.
I don't know if it's him. Well, did you notice... I've been saying to you that there's different parts in those previous episodes where he's looking at the camera as if to make a point, like breaking the fourth wall as the Doctor. Mm. I don't think it's that anymore. I think it's just he doesn't know what he's doing because he probably does it 12 times in these two episodes.
He's constantly near, like, stands close to the camera and does, like, a little, like, eye side to side kind of thing.
So, yeah, he kind of... That kills it for me because I thought it was a cool, like, ooh.
He knows he's being watched by you, the viewer.
Whereas now it's like... there's a camera there.
He's just
I'll
a
keep
crazy
acting.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also... How many times... Okay, these are the different lines that he got wrong. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. There's a huge number.
You got them?
There's even one that... I haven't got the number. So if you want to roll through what you picked up...
Well, sorry. This is from the two episodes.
Yeah.
You knocked both Susan and I unconscious.
Mm.
Took him about 12 seconds to say as he kept repeating words.
He said he did get jumbled up there.
Yes.
They often...
It sounded like he was drunk, and I'm not saying he was. That's how it sounded.
Yeah, I don't think he was drunk. I think he was just...
With fame.
Drunk with fame.
It means the ship is at the point of disintegration. That was a Doctor look.
Mm.
And a little bit of a stumbly words.
I don't think... I think... There was also another time when he says the brink... of destruction.
Yeah,
but I think he was supposed to aim for the brink of disaster.
Oh, man.
Because it's the edge of destruction and the brink of disaster.
Because you did touch on this, hey, that...
He had said...
As an actor, right?
That he didn't like... I've got the thing here.
Yeah, read
so,
it. You do notice it when you watch the episodes.
So... William Hartnell initially complained about the script due to the number of lines.
Mm-hmm.
And Carol Ann Ford was sceptical of the characters appearing mad without any discernible reason. So that's the Doctor and Susan.
Both being like...
But...
he also says, don't underestimate my powers, young lady. But it also takes him about 12 to 15 seconds to say.
Yeah, and I think William Hartnell... nothing against him because he's quite a revered actor.
I figured, because he's like the start of this new... show.
Yeah.
The main guy.
But I don't think he was keen to, like, do many takes of this either. You know what I mean? Like, he was a bit like, I've said it. You know, like, it's done.
And they're like, but you said underestimate 4 times.
Are
you sure?
I do think you know how I said there was that point where he got Ian's name wrong earlier?
Yes.
I think that they just wrote it into the thing like, he gets Ian's name wrong. But I think that was more because William Hartnell was like, it's close enough.
Well, I think it has become a joke within the show because at the end of the second episode, he calls him Chartow.
Yes.
And I watch it with the subtitles, and his name is spelled Chartow. How is that close to Chesterton?
Well, you know, sometimes you just want to...
I refuse to believe he got it that wrong. That has to be part of the ongoing joke now, right?
Yeah, probably.
Otherwise,
he probably
they're in deep trouble.
I mean, yeah. He just didn't like doing a lot of talking, which I guess if you're an actor who's playing the Doctor, I mean, the Doctor is prone to, like...
Who?
Lots of speeches.
True.
You know, like...
Not yet, which is thankful enough, because he can't speak.
Oh, I feel bad for him, but yes.
He's fine. I don't mind him as an actor, but you're not supposed to look at the camera unless it's intentional, and you should be able to say words. That's your whole job.
Oh, cool. Sorry, I found something else for later.
Okay.
But I'll save it for more trivia.
Ooh, tension.
Ooh. So I've got the Doctor said... the Doctor and Susan reference adventures to other planets in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I think the name of it is Quinis?
I don't remember that.
Okay, so you know how Susan's unconscious, she just went all stabby, and they move into the console room and the Doctor's talking about, you know, trying to fix whatever's wrong, and Barbara's all like, you know, something could have come in, but where would it go and where would it hide or whatever, and Susan kind of like, there's that weird music, like horror music. Yeah. And then Susan's suddenly there and she's like, it could be in one of us or whatever. Yes. You know that bit?
Yes.
But then the Doctor, like, the images start coming up on the screen where it's like places that they've been. Mm-hmm. And in that, Susan mentions Quinis as like a location that they've been to, that her and the Doctor have been to in their travels. So I thought that was interesting. It's like, okay, so they've actually been around before. Yeah. Which also makes me annoyed that Susan seems so terrified of everything. Because you've seen other things.
Supposedly, yeah.
Yeah. I think that the Barbara does a really good job standing up to the Doctor.
The Barbara does do a good job.
Yeah. He's all like, now I know what's going on here. You two have sabotaged my ship. And she's like, hey, excuse me?
And now, I could not tell if this was him as the Doctor or him as...
the actor. Who's just like, no. I like my show, you two are stealing my thunder.
No. I did not know whether it was the Doctor actually thinking that or whether he's going crazy because he's possessed. Because it seemed really odd that all of a sudden he was accusing them of doing things.
Yeah, but this Doctor seems very erratic. Like, he's like, he's like, we got to work together and help people. And the next minute he's like, get out of my ship. I'm throwing you into space.
Underestimate. You know, he keeps repeating his words.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Erratic.
But that's probably because he can't speak properly.
I did find, this is towards the end of the first episode of the two.
Yes.
I did find it really weird that the episode ends with everyone really angry at the Doctor. Mm. Susan's the one that's been stabbing things. Yeah. No one cares anymore. They're just angry that he said a few mean things.
Yeah, and he does a weird thing where he's like, look, I'm not saying, like, because I really like Doctor Who, but if someone was like being really rude to me, and then I gave him a bit of like a comeback, and we're like, no, you suck.
Big words.
And then they didn't apologize, but they're like, you know what? Let's have a drink. I'd be a bit like, you know, like, were they not that suspicious? I know Ian does pick up on it, but Barbara is just
I've just realised you're not giving me an analogy. You're talking about how the episode ends with a tea.
Yeah.
I thought you were giving me
the Doctor just walks in, he's like, you know what? We got to work together on this. Have a drink.
Here's some tea. Did he say tea, or did it look like tea? I thought he said
he said a nightcap. Yeah, so I think it might have been alcohol.
Right. That would explain
which, by the way, Susan? Did he give that to Susan?
I can't...
Or would there be something different in her cup? Because I feel like she's only like 16 or something, 15. I don't know how old she is.
I don't even want to go there.
But he's just like, have a nightcap.
He was creepy.
But yeah, that's the other thing. So I put here, ends with a bit of creepiness from the Doctor. Because they've all like gone to sleep. Susan's like, my grandfather... I think we skipped over the part where Susan had the scissors again. But, you know...
Her and those scissors, I tell you what.
But she's saying to Barbara, look, can you just forgive my grandfather? She's like, oh, we should go to sleep. So they go to sleep, and they're out for the count because the doctor's drugged them, like, basically.
That's what I took from
So
it.
he mentions later that it was like a sleeping thing. Just making sure we've been recording. A sleeping thing. A mild sedative of some kind.
Yeah, alcohol.
Yeah. And so he goes to see Ian. Like, the way he checks to see if they're asleep. And obviously he's just pleased that his plan is being successful. But the look of him is just like, yes, they're all asleep. And it's like, oh,
Sleep, children.
that's not right. This isn't right. This isn't the doctor. What are you doing?
It's also
he
creepy.
He hit his head very hard. So I guess.
That doesn't make it okay.
Yeah, no. It doesn't.
It's also creepy in the fact that if the police ever found them, who did this to you? We never knew his name. His name was just the doctor.
The doctor.
Who?
Doctor Who.
Exactly.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. See, he's creepy.
And so he goes to the TARDIS and he's all like... He goes back into the main room. And so they're all asleep and he's a bit like, time to sort out this stuff. And suddenly, his hands are around his throat.
Yes. You've seen it before, but the first time you saw it, did you know exactly who it was?
I thought it would be Ian.
Yeah.
It looked like Ian's hands.
Yeah.
Not that I took much notice of his hands.
Well, the first time at the end of the episode, I thought...
He could be possessed, though, I thought that.
True. I thought it was someone else, and maybe that's who's been doing things to them. And then as soon as the second one was starting, the second episode, I thought, it's just Ian. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and then Ian has like a really weird,
He stares at his hands a lot.
he stares at his hands like he does. I mean, William Russell, the actor who plays Ian, he is very good at staring. You know, like he does a lot of those like that looks really interesting over there. You know what I mean? Like previous episodes.
There's soap opera acting where you look off in the distance.
Yeah,
Someone says,
it's like
I've been having an affair.
even in like the one where you know how they had to jump across that cliff with the rope
Inside the cave.
inside the cave, and he's like, you have to make it over there, and you're like, oh, he's quite good at making something look interesting or something that look far away.
Yeah.
Something that's not there. He's really good at looking at things that aren't there.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say.
So what you're saying is he would have been perfect in any of the new Star Wars films where they were just working with CGI and it was blank walls, and all the actors said this was horrible.
Yeah, my favourite thing, speaking of CGI things, is when do you know Ian McKellen in The Hobbit? And there was that interview where he was just like, he had like a not a breakdown, but he was like, it's not like Lord of the Rings. There's just nothing around. Is this acting? What am I doing here? Just like...
Pretty much.
So yeah. So and then he kind of like falls backwards. And he's all like, ah. He does...
He's all like,
another thing he's good at, falling down. That
Yep.
actor. Very good at falling down.
He is.
And looking dazed. That was good too.
In the 60s, that's all you needed to be as an actor.
Falling down well and being dazed.
Uh-huh.
So Ian is overcome like Susan. Susan enters with terrifying music. Because she does.
She does.
And then Ian says... so the doctor's all like, I see what you've done. You're like trying to mess with my ship or whatever. And he talks about the... because the controls have zapped and the controls... Ian's like, the controls are alive.
Right.
That's a quote. So he's starting to be like, oh, okay. Maybe there's not something possessing them. Maybe it's just the ship doing weird things.
Yeah.
So I've got William Hartnell gets tongue-tied again. I think that's the one where you said brink of whatever.
Destruction.
Yeah. Because the TARDIS does the thing where it goes really haywire. The console thing moves up and down, and the screen goes white and black.
Yeah.
And I actually thought that for the time that would have been quite a good visual effect.
Yeah, the image of space.
Yeah,
You're talking about that image.
I was talking more about the TARDIS, going really bright. So they had the images of London and was it London, England, or whatever?
Somewhere in England.
England, and then a planet, and then like a moon, and then like the moon but further away, and then like a solar system. I think the Doctor even says later it's the moon but like further away.
Right.
A moon,
just to make it clear to viewers, that's what it's supposed to be.
And then a solar system, and then everything goes it goes really bright.
It was cool for the time.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. So the power source in the column, and the Doctor says like the power source is inside the console, and if the column like comes off, it gets released.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
As if it's like a big finger holding down the power switch or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think of like at this point? Were you like, it's definitely someone possessing them, or is the TARDIS doing weird stuff?
Yeah, well, I thought the TARDIS was broken or something.
Mm.
I knew by that point that no one was possessing them, because I think if that was going to be the storyline, when episode 2 starts and the Doctor has his hands around his throat, it would be that thing or that person.
Yeah.
So by that time I figured it's something to do with the ship.
I'm glad Susan was like, no, it's not them. You know, like, because the Doctor's all like, it's their fault, and Susan's like, actually... Also, by the way, I tried to stab someone with scissors before.
But now I'm friends again.
Now we're friends again.
I don't feel like that... Well, hang on, we'll get to it. Sorry, let's keep going.
Are we getting to later?
Where I don't know what was supposed to have happened.
Okay, so at this point...
Yes.
There's like one spot that you can stand on the floor and touch the controls, and it doesn't zap you. Mm-hmm. Because that comes up. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Yeah, they said that there was one particular spot they could stand in.
Which I thought was interesting, because that is a recurring thing. Like, even the places you stand in the TARDIS affect how the controls do stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
I see.
So,
I thought that might have just been a one-off thing, but there you go.
Yeah, so, there's that. So it's standing in one spot, and all that, the world doesn't end. But then the Doctor and Barbara has like a theory about what's going on. Like they have there's a couple of weird moments.
Yes.
They all stare at a clock, and time is taken away from them, but given back to them. Which is what Barbara said. Barbara says that, because their watches all go weird. And Barbara throws her watch away.
Freaks out,
throws her watch away, and Ian's all like, oh, I can't see the time or whatever, because there's lots of blurry screens and stuff going on.
Right.
And there's a big metal clock thing inside the TARDIS. But I have to be honest, I was watching it, and I was like, the four of them are just screaming at a clock.
Yeah.
Because I didn't notice what was happening. There was just incidental music, like scary music. They were all staring at a clock, and then they all screamed. The Doctor didn't scream.
I was really prepared for there to be a monster because of how they were reacting, like you
Starting
said.
to come out of it.
Because, the camera's focused on them as a group. You're watching them freak out and looking at something. You're like, oh no, what are they looking at? And then it's a clock.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking. I was like, what?
And look, I know that there's going to be some fan who's listening to this who's screaming into their headphones about what was actually happening.
Also, you shouldn't scream into headphones. They're just for listening.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
But if it's on YouTube, can you like or dislike? Doesn't matter.
Just like. No dislikes.
We still get the, what's it called? The engagement stuff.
Any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah. Comment. Tell us your theory. I won't read it.
I will. Because I don't think this episode makes sense, and I'm sorry if that offends people. That's why I'm asking you.
Because I've got the wiki open. So I'm just going to tell you what it says Barbara has deduced. Because to me, Barbara was like...
Go on.
This is what's happening. Time is taken away from us and then given to us. The TARDIS is trying to warn us of the thing, maybe?
Yeah.
and it's like showing us things that are good, and then when it's like bad is going to happen, then it goes a bit haywire. Like it's trying to tell us something's wrong.
Right.
And they do figure out what's wrong. They figure out that the fast return switch, which the doctor didn't mention last episode, which by the way, having gone to caveman land, that button probably would have been quite handy to just fast return back to like London, wouldn't it? Decided not to push that button, decided to fly to Skaro. I know they didn't want to go back.
Right.
But now what? He decided to push it now. So they left they left Skaro, right?
Yeah.
He pushes the fast return switch, which to me sounds like it goes back to the last place you were in.
See, I misunderstood.
Are you going back to caveman land instead?
That's a good point. I misunderstood, and I thought it meant returning back in time. So it was just the fastest way possible to go back in time. You see? That's why they keep ending up back in time. Because the Doctor eventually has this big speech about how he thinks that they're right at the beginning of the creation of this particular solar system.
That's correct, yes, he says that.
That's why I think it's fast return as in return to the beginning of time.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, like, you'd push that button, but because it got stuck down, it just kept going further and further backwards. Is that right?
That's what I thought was what they were trying to say. And I say trying to say, not just say, because I don't think this episode makes sense. The storyline.
The fast return lever was a component of the TARDIS that returned the vessel either back through time or to a previous location in space and time.
So it's either.
There you go.
So it's a gamble. You're hoping it takes you back to the last location, but it could take you back to the beginning of civilization.
The first Doctor used his fast return switch in an attempt to return Ian and Chesterton and Barbara out to 1963. However, the spring in the switch became stuck. So that's what's happened in this episode. So he pushed the button to return because... Okay, actually, it's kind of coming back to me because he says they went to caveman times and then they went to the future. So he confirms that the Daleks episode that is indeed in the future.
Okay, I didn't notice that.
And then, so he's pressed the fast return switch, I assume now, to go back from Skaro to London in 1963.
Right.
But instead it just got stuck down.
So it went further back.
And it just kept looping. Because the image comes up on the screen more than once.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I assume it's kind of stuck in this loop. Oh, man. Okay. Whew.
That was weird. I have a couple of other points about that episode, though.
No, I was going to say, I don't mind the all-in-one place kind of thing, though.
No, I like it. I like it not just in this episode. I like it as a concept for different movies and TV shows.
Yeah.
Like Phone Booth. That movie?
Yeah.
With a guy in a phone booth?
Yes.
Saw, the first one, In the Room.
Is it Farrell? Colin Farrell?
Colin Farrell.
And Kiefer Sutherland.
Spoilers.
That's not a spoiler.
You don't know it's him until the last 10 seconds
it's
of the
his
film.
voice. He sounds like Kiefer Sutherland. You can't impersonate Kiefer Sutherland.
Okay,
he sounds like Kiefer Sutherland.
I watched it when I didn't know who he was, so I was like, oh, that's the bad guy. I'd never heard his voice before.
10
anyway,
24. Yep.
It's a cool concept, and I like seeing it being used in different TV shows and movies, where it's all in one spot.
Yeah, well, it does occur again. It does.
In the TARDIS or in a different spot?
Not always in the TARDIS.
Right.
In fact, the 12th Doctor has a very good episode, so I look forward to that.
I will. I'll try to remember to look forward to it in 11 Doctors' time, which I don't even know how many episodes time that is.
So, Barbara deduces that the strange events are an attempt by the TARDIS to warn them. Yep, we did that. I thought it was also interesting, just before we get to, like, the end bit. So the Doctor's like, we got 10 minutes. And so he's, you're like already ready to roll your eyes.
This is one of the points. This is one of the points I wanted to bring up, but you continue because you were pleased about it.
The Doctor's like, we got 10 minutes, and then the TARDIS will disintegrate or destruct or whatever.
10 minutes to live.
10 minutes to live. And he goes, you, Barbara and Susan, can you go stand by the door and let me know what you see? I'm going to open the doors or whatever. And then
Let's
he's
just open the doors to our destruction.
And he's like, get over here, Ian. He's like, I lied to them. We don't have 10 minutes. We have 5 minutes. I just don't want them to like, I just want them to, like, it'll just be over quick. And I don't want them to, like, see it coming.
Yeah, so they're unaware of it.
Great, isn't it? So, because it's not like you're like, oh, we've got 10 years. But it's actually 5 minutes. You know, like, you have told them, like, the difference between 10 and 5 minutes to me. If someone said to me, you've got 10 minutes to live, and then, you know, I was like, oh, good, 10 minutes. I can do loads in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then they go away and they're like, I just couldn't tell them it's 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like,
that's exactly what my point was going to be. What is the difference?
Yeah.
5 minutes or 10 minutes till total destruction of your life.
So well done, Doctor.
He thought he was doing some heroic thing. All he's done is waste 5 minutes.
Even the way he said it to Ian, he was like oh, I'm so relieved. I've just told them it's 10 minutes, but it's actually 5. Like,
as if he solved the entire problem.
And then Susan's like, what are you two talking about? And he's like, oh, nothing. Oh, I just have a theory. It might not work out. And then the Doctor's like, oh, it's this switch. Now, this will come up again, like this kind of
5
episode.
and 10 minutes.
No, not this.
Okay, good.
The writing does improve.
Yeah.
So,
jeez. My only last point was Susan was really annoying this episode.
Yes.
I just wanted to mention that again.
That's also a recurring
worth
thing.
saying it again, but sorry, you continue.
That a big world-ending thing, or TARDIS ending thing, or like a big problem has actually quite insignificant, has been caused by something that seems quite insignificant.
Right, okay.
You know, like, this is just literally a button is stuck. And it almost got them all killed. You know what I mean?
Right, so that's a theme.
That's a thing. It's not like every episode, but it's like that kind of stuff can come up every now and then, where it's like,
they got me again.
Oh my gosh, I can't. We almost it was just we misread a sign, and now we almost killed everyone. You know, that kind of thing.
Right.
So
that sounds like you're referring to a specific episode.
I tried to say reads a sign because I know that's definitely not a thing that's happened.
Oh, okay.
So,
to save it. That's good.
So yeah. But then they're all good mates after that.
All of a sudden they're besties.
Yeah.
And not Susan, what's the name of the lady?
Barbara
and the Doctor have like a very nice, friendly, they make up and are friends again kind of a conversation.
Yeah. By the way, he still doesn't really apologise, so...
No.
You know, like, it's one of those apologies where it's like, I guess we're all at fault.
Even
put on this jacket, let's get out of here.
Even Ian knows. He says, don't bother apologising. They just don't even expect him to.
Yeah, they kind of... I guess that's the good thing about the last bit of this episode, is they now kind of all understand each other. Mm-hmm. So they go, this madman, he doesn't really know what's going on, but, you know, he's showing us space and time, so I guess he's alright.
All it took was travelling to the beginning of time and almost completely destroying everything that we know about humanity.
Another recurring thing. So Ian puts on a jacket.
Yeah, what was that?
So it's a big jacket. I wouldn't wear such a big jacket.
It looks like a dress.
But the coat that Doctor gives him is from Gilbert and Sullivan. Mm-hmm. Did you hear that reference?
I did, and I was going to ask you about it.
Okay, ask me.
What is that? Who are they?
They're like a famous... I'm going to click on their name here so I give you like a right answer, because otherwise someone will...
So it's not a Doctor Who reference?
No, they're real life people. They're musicians.
Oh.
So...
I didn't know that.
So the Doctor often has things from
history.
Famous people.
Ah, that makes sense.
So...
Who are they?
They were human musicians. The only thing, this is from the TARDIS Wiki, they've got 2 sentences in the entry. You ready?
Oh, hang on. So not from real life.
No, they're real. They're real people.
But in real life, we don't call people human musicians.
Yeah, because this is the TARDIS Wiki.
Okay.
So it means in the context of the Doctor Who TV show, they were human musicians.
That's really bizarre. The way you explained it to me. Go on.
The Doctor claimed that they once gave him an Ulster coat, which he in turn lent to Ian.
Right.
So, yeah.
Fun trivia.
Oh, you want some fun trivia?
Well, hang on. The last thing
Fun
is...
trivia. Here it comes.
Before we get to trivia...
Here comes the trivia.
Well, wait.
Go. Yes, go.
Before we get to the trivia, after they're all happy fun times having a party, let's leave the ship and explore the snow,
Oh, the snow.
they find a big footprint that they say looks like belongs to a giant.
Now,
And that's how it ends.
I haven't seen the next series. I haven't seen the next set of episodes.
Right.
It's called Marco Polo, I think.
Right.
But I hope that's a Yeti.
I think it is, because I think it's going to be easy to find in 1963 when you're filming a sci-fi show a big woolly costume, then trying to figure out how to make someone look like a giant. Do you agree?
Oh, yeah.
So that's what it's going to be. It's going to be
like a wampa. Like, what's the thing from Star Wars?
Excuse me?
The big creature that got that got Luke in the ice cavern.
I don't know, but
Do you not watch Star Wars?
But I don't know that much detail.
That's Empire Strikes Back. That's the start of the second movie.
When did that come out?
1970 something.
About 20 years before I was born.
Same.
Yeah, but I didn't know it was
You were
called
born a
a
year
wampa.
earlier than me.
I didn't know it was called a wampa.
Isn't it called a wampa?
Sounds like something from
Call in and let us know what it's
Worms
called.
3D when you're shooting each other. Here comes the wampa.
You mean like a banana grenade?
Yeah. I'll defend with the wampa. Anyway, it could be a wampa, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, it could be a wampa.
Okay, anyway. Time for trivia.
Alright.
Fun trivia, please.
So, there's something in here that I didn't really talk about, which I regret, with the fault indicator.
Oh yeah, that was actually a huge part of the plot that we just completely
Yes.
skipped over.
So it's part of the TARDIS that detects where there's a fault. Now,
Are you telling me it indicates where the fault is, the fault indicator?
yeah. Now I had forgotten this completely because I swear he says it twice, but this says he only says it once. So I have to go. I don't want to go back and listen to it.
I think they talk about it a couple of times.
William Hartnell mispronounces it, but he does it on purpose because he says, "This is your first bit of trivia." William Hartnell decided to play a joke on the cast, who often teased him when he messed up his lines. Nice, isn't it? We've got this elderly. I think he was like 57, so he's not actually super old.
That's not elderly.
But at that time, like, look at him.
What, people are dying at 60?
Yeah, but look at him. He looks like an old man.
He doesn't look 57.
No.
He looks 87.
And so, and he's forgetting his lines, and they're like, "Oh, you can't do this job properly," and he's been acting since forever. But
And it looks like it.
so it's supposed to be the fault locator. Sorry, fault locator. I said indicator. Fault locator.
Right.
But he says the fornicator.
Really?
Yeah, I heard him say it, and it's in here, and I was like, "You shouldn't say that."
Oh, is this the trivia you didn't want to share?
Yeah.
Okay, I watched it, I didn't even hear him say it. I think because I'm watching the subtitles, I don't think it's in the subtitles.
They probably didn't put that in the
They
subtitle.
put fault indicator, I'm pretty sure.
Fault locator.
Locator. Well, I didn't hear him say it, but jeez. And they left it in.
They left it in.
Because he's like, I'm not doing this again.
I was actually writing notes, and I couldn't hear what he was calling it the first couple times he said it, and I didn't want to write that down. I was just like, "No, he definitely said that, but that can't be what it's called." And then I think Susan calls it the fault locator, and I was like, "Oh, whew." Originally, this is a fun fact. Barbara and Ian were both supposed to come up with the idea that the TARDIS was warning them about something, as opposed to Barbara coming up with it on her own.
Okay.
So yeah, they were like, "Oh, but we should give Barbara her moment to like do her thing."
Because Ian is pretty useless in this episode.
Well, he fell over. He tried to strangle someone, then fell backwards, and then couldn't get up.
Meanwhile,
"You're gonna have to help me up, Barbara. You're gonna have to help me up." He says that twice.
All the other guys, quick, check the fornicator. And then Barbara's like, hang on, I've worked it out. It's taking time away from us, but it's giving it back to us because it's warning us of when there's going to be a good time, there's also going to be followed by a bad time. And then don't touch the console. You have to stand on this side of the room. Why does Susan have scissors?
Twice!
What is with this episode?
I'm glad that Barbara picked up that... Okay, so when Susan's lying down and Barbara's like... I don't know, she's doing something at a desk. And Susan gets out and Barbara doesn't even turn around, but she says, give me the scissors, Susan. So she knows, like, she's not an idiot. Like, she's figured it out.
Right.
So I liked that. Like, she wasn't just like, you know, she understood that Susan had taken the scissors back. But why did you leave the scissors alone?
I don't understand.
This episode cost £2,500. Pounds.
Is that just the salary of the actors?
I think that could be correct, but you also cameraman and all that kind of stuff.
And scissors.
Yeah, scissors are expensive. This is one of the first...
That would have been new technology at that time.
This is, Verity Lambert, who's the producer of Doctor Who, the first season, had to write a letter of apology after the BBC's children's department made it known they felt it was an unwise decision to show Susan acting out so violently with a pair of scissors.
Wow. Imagine if they saw the things that come out.
That's right, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm thinking even, like, current Doctor Who...
Is there stuff?
There's stuff where, you know, like, people get possessed and it's all, like, they do... It's because Doctor Who is always like rated PG because it's like a family show.
Right.
But there's often like it's supposed to be scary stuff in it. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, the Daleks weren't supposed to be like we might not think they're that terrifying now, particularly the three that would just like blow up cardboard cutouts or something. But they were supposed to be terrifying.
Yeah.
So yes, I can imagine this stuff now. And don't even get me started on Torchwood.
Well, I won't because I don't know what that is.
It's a spin-off. But so
it's just two words put together, man.
So Doctor Who,
torch and wood.
In more recent Doctor Who had two spin-offs, two main spin-offs. There's been more. But there's the main show, the family show that's Doctor Who, and then there's a show called Torchwood, which is supposed to be like sci-fi stuff. It's in the same universe as Doctor Who, but for adults.
Oh, okay.
So...
but they reference each other?
They reference each other, and characters from Torchwood do appear in Doctor Who.
Right.
But the Doctor never appears in Torchwood, because that's not right.
Okay.
It's not right, man. And then the third show is called The Sarah Jane Adventures, which is like a kids' show.
Right.
But it's also in the Doctor Who universe.
And that's a recent one as well?
That's a recent one. And the Doctor does show up in that show sometimes.
Right.
So if we've got like spare time at some point...
Oh, we're doing it when we get to that point.
We should, yeah, because there's... I know this is a bit off topic, but when we get there, when those two other shows start, they run parallel to the Doctor Who show. So like events in each of them affect the others.
So when we get to that point, should we watch like along all the series at once to get the full story that we can talk about?
Yeah, I have a feeling you won't like Torchwood though. I very much...
That's okay, I'll be willing to tell you that.
I think the first season is... You have to get through the first season. But season 2 to 4 is quite good. And there's still some good episodes in the first season. There's just a lot of like... I don't know. Whoa. This is a different level than Doctor Who. You know what I mean? If you're used to watching like the Fun Doctor with like a sonic screwdriver and just be like, let's go through space and time. And this one's like... Oh, these people have been massacred by an alien. You know what I mean? It's just a different vibe.
Right.
We can get to that.
We can get to that.
And I have a feeling a lot of the CGI from that show hasn't held up. So,
but I find it funny that there was complaints about her with the scissors.
Yeah.
Nowadays, there are whole movies based on the concept of a child stabbing things.
I don't think there's anything else in here that's really worth... I mean, there's little things like... This is one of the few episodes where there's no deaths.
One of the few episodes? Yes. Well, I guess other characters.
Like, I mean, if you think of the caveman episode, the old woman dies.
That's true.
And the And the Daleks one, there's a few Thals that get killed and stuff. So,
True.
and the Daleks, they get killed as well. So there's always someone who dies.
Yeah, fair.
But in this episode, no one dies.
Yeah.
It's also one of the smallest casts, because just the four of them.
Just the four of them.
And this is just from memory, like this isn't trivia that I've looked up, but I'm fairly certain
Go on.
it's the only episode that is entirely in the TARDIS.
Ever. Well, they leave at the end.
Yeah, for a second.
But I know what you're saying. But it's still filmed basically at the TARDIS.
There is another episode that I'm thinking of that is like 95% in the TARDIS, but it's got a bit more going on outside.
Right.
Yeah. But we'll get to that.
We will.
And they turn into rock people. What? Nothing.
They like rock people.
Do you want to see the photo for next time? I feel like we've been talking for a while.
Sure, show me the photo.
Okay, you ready?
I think this is actually going to be one of our shorter episodes, but yes.
Is it?
Well,
I suppose
some of them are
it's like a
pretty long.
2-episode thing.
Yeah.
I think the thing about this episode is, because we have to rate it before we look at the next photo first. So I think the thing about it is, it's a bit weak on like bad guys and villains and like a solution, because literally it's a button that's stuck.
You know who the bad guy is in this show?
Each other.
Susan, with the scissors.
Cannot wait. There's going to be a moment where she leaves the show and we're all going to be very happy. Because obviously she's not in the recent Doctor Who. So she must leave at some point.
Spoilers. Anyway, go on.
But I do think it's not too bad for character development. I think that they kind of become a better team, but doesn't progress very logically. It's like they all hate each other, but now they're all friends. Mm-hmm. They've gone through this thing. They know they have to live with each other. Oh, Doctor, you're sometimes going to blame us for things, even though we save your life. That kind of thing. So I'm not going to rate it that highly, if I'm honest.
I can promise you I won't be.
So out of 13, I think I'm going to give it... Oh my gosh, someone's going to like scream into their headphones.
It's their favourite storyline.
Yeah. But I like it.
I don't.
But I'm going to jump Pertwee it and give it 3 out of 13.
Whoa! I thought I was going to be low.
No! Jump Pertwee. 3 out of 13.
Okay, I'm not going to change it just because you did yours. I wish I had now because... See, I get the feeling things are going to come up that are not going to be great because you've warned me.
Maybe,
of that.
you know what? Tom Baker.
It's done.
You know what? In the moment, I said 3. I'm taking the 3.
I was going to say 5 because I've rated everything about 7, 8 or 9-ish, I think. And I think it's okay, but I don't think the story makes as much sense as it could have. So I'm just going to give it a 5, which is who?
Peter Davison.
Okay.
Very good actor. He still does some Doctor Who stuff.
Cool.
He does radio plays.
True.
Very good. John Pertwee doesn't because he's dead.
We're sorry if you liked this storyline. I don't think it makes sense.
No.
Which
I mean, I think it does make sense. But I think there's a bit too many different things going on.
Or maybe it just wasn't communicated clearly enough for me, and that's why I'm the fool.
It's probably William Hartnell's fault. He does just stuff up his lines a lot.
I still enjoyed watching it because I thought parts of it were fun, like Susan with the scissors. That should be a meme.
Yeah. And also, like, I see things that will come up that I'm like, oh, okay.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that jacket is from those famous people. And stuff like that.
I have seen on BritBox, you know how they show an image for the episodes upcoming?
Yeah.
They look like they're going to be pretty rad. So I'm looking forward to it. And I also said rad because this is a show from 1963.
Are you ready?
I'm ready for the image. Is this for the next episode?
Now, I
story
deliberately
arc?
didn't... It's the next story arc.
Okay.
Now, I deliberately didn't pick the big bad because we know there's a giant footprint, so there's going to be something there. And I didn't want to show you that creature.
So you already know what it is?
Well, I just figured...
So
I've already
read
read about the story, but
Okay.
I don't know exactly what the creature is.
Okay. I will describe the image. Okay. It's William Hartnell looking slightly annoyed. He's standing behind a man who looks like an extra from a Robin Hood play. And there's also people in the background who look like they're from they're in the back of 300. You know, like extras in 300. It's a collection of people from time.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Oh, that's Susan. I didn't recognize her without the scissors.
Or the screaming.
That's true. She doesn't look very screamy there.
I'm gonna... I don't know. I don't know the story. So I can't tell you if you're right or wrong.
I don't think he's the one with the footprints from, though. He looks like a person.
But I'm going to guarantee that in this shot, it makes me think that guy's going to walk away at some point and the doctor's going to look at the camera again.
Oh,
you can see it, though, right?
Yeah, but
he's going to walk off and he's going to be like, yes, and then he's going to look at the camera.
Yeah, but is he meant to, or is he just not a great actor at that moment in time?
Someone just unsubscribed because you said he's not a good actor. I'm just saying.
Hey, if those are the kind of people listening, I don't want them to listen.
Now, let me just double check the number of episodes.
I take it back. Please stay with us. We love you.
We need as many people as we can get. What? Nothing.
Please.
Before we leave, let me just make sure how many episodes in the next series. So there's 7 episodes in Marco Polo. That's the next story. So we'll probably split 4 and 3 again.
Yeah, sounds good.
So we'll do that.
Is it 4 and 3 or 3 and 4? What works in terms of the story?
Well, because I haven't really read up about the story.
You don't want to.
Why don't I message you?
Yeah, but don't ruin it for yourself. Let's just pick a number. 4 or 3, go.
I've got the titles, so let's base on the titles. Ready?
Go.
So the first is called The Roof of the World, then The Singing Sands, then 500 Eyes, then The Wall of Lies, then The Rider from Shang 2, then The Mighty Cub. I think 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Because the last 3 sound like 3...
big things.
Yeah.
Also, we probably want to discuss the whole story arc as a whole when we get to the end.
Yes.
So we'll do 4 episodes next episode of the podcast.
We'll do 4 episodes of the next story arc in the next episode of our podcast.
Yeah, that's just clear. Thank you, William Hartnell. Very well and clearly explained.
Hey, I didn't get tongue-tied or anything. So if you've listened to this and you're like, hey, this is alright.
I'm a fan of scissors.
I'm a fan of scissors. And I like seeing someone stab a chair repeatedly and then faint. Why not just subscribe and then tell all of your friends and give us a rating on iTunes or Facebook. Oh, what is it? YouTube.
We're going to be on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. We're going to be on everything. Matt doesn't know this yet, but we will be. I'm going to be pushing it hard for no reason.
I've got Facebook and Twitter ready. I just need to add some of our images.
I'll do the other things.
But I hadn't thought about Insta. Oh, we could add the photos of the things.
Of course.
Okay, so we will have Instagram.
Yes, and I'm going to put a little more effort into the YouTube video, so it's not just
Okay,
audio.
so you know how last time we said in the episode we wanted certain things done in the video?
Yeah.
So for this one, can you just have the image of Susan's like stabbing? That's just the image, so you don't have to like have a video in it, because it's probably copyrighted or something, but you could have the photo.
Doctor Who copyrighted, are you sure?
And then just every now and then her arm just goes down and back up, like she's stabbing.
For the whole episode?
For the whole episode.
Okay, done.
Yeah, occasionally you can just switch who's she's stabbing, like who's witnessing the stabbing, so you can chuck in Barbara and then Ian.
Right.
But yeah, just that stabbing of the chair, it's just a classic.
Let's say every 5 or so minutes it will suddenly stab. And see if people notice by the time they hear us talk about it.
Yes, so you can follow us on all those social media things. I'll put it in the episode description, or you'll put it. It'll go in the episode description.
On all of our social media, we'll have a link tree.
Yeah.
And that'll link us. That'll show you where all of our stuff is.
Yes. And we'll have a pod link, which is where all the different podcast streams are. You can find them as well.
I believe you.
Yeah, that's what I had for my other podcast, my other less successful podcast.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is my second podcast, everyone. Technically, it's my third. But hey.
We're sorry we're wasting your time now.
Yeah. Everyone have a good week.
We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.
What are you doing?
I'm reversing the polarity of my ultrasonic screwdriver's power source.
Reverse the polarity.
Reverse the polarity.
I just reversed the polarity.
Reverse the polarity.